Well, you opened us up here. Voice at CES 2023. You had a great opening keynote. It was also nice to have you bring a couple folks up, have a conversation panel with them. Why is Veritone here? Why be here at CES? What makes it important? I know last year, as I was with Ryan, like there's a big announcement, but what is it for this year? Why be here? And what do you see CES in terms of its importance in our sphere of technology in our industry?
Well, I think it's important for us to be here mainly just because we're starting to see real life practical applications of voice technology. And as I said in some of the like AI in the wild, we're actually seeing it. And that's why I was here really to talk about our partnerships that we did with Cameo and Coco Melon and the Candle team in there, because it's like these are real interactions that the voice technology is providing. It's providing moments of fun, nostalgia, experiences from there. And candidly, that's what voice and we've all been out there. So like we're wanting to use voice to create new engagements and to be able to create, if you're a brand, how do you keep engagement with those groups? You know, if you're a company, how are you using voice to leverage, you know, your store, your work staff? And we're just saying like, here it is. It's here. It's creating moments that's available to that. And it was just a fun opportunity for us to be able to really show that out there.
Yes. When you try to explain, here's where we're at, and here's where we're going, how do you, as an individual and as a company, make those declarations? Like, here's our case study. Look what we've accomplished. But then sometimes it can get blurred. The lines can get blurred with like, and here's where we'll be at in a season or in 10 years.
Sure.
And people have selective hearing. So how do you bring these different case studies forward in a way that kind of says, look at all these incredible things that are happening with this technology, but then also set forth the past, the vision, and promise of what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, it's just about what you see as much about what you don't see. There's so much that's going on behind the scenes, and a lot of it is really, we have a very blessed to have an amazingly talented team that I get to work with that allows us to be able to sometimes make these big, you know, hairy, audacious goals and announcements in there because we know that we have the technology and the talent that can help deliver on some of those ones here. But also, like, you know, that being said, you know, a lot of prototyping, a lot of testing, a lot of practicing, and a lot of, you know, what I'll call a little bit of lapsish. You know, like we think we can do it. Can we? Can we do it? But then more importantly, just can we do it? Can it be scalable? And again, can we do this? And you know what we were talking about out there with our friends at Candle and Cameo was what they talked about. Like they want to create experiences. They want to create the sense of nostalgia, providing you know an entertainment gift for their kids and a moment for those. But like under normal production standards, they just can't. They can't do that. So again, here's technology. It's like, can we? It's like, yes, let's try it. And then like, can we do it? Can we create it? Can we make it? Okay, then great. Then the most important question, can it be scalable? And then that's what we're doing. And so it's knowing that we have an amazing technology stack in AI where it allows us to build and scale off this, but also then the people that are just as capable and talented that are able to use the tools that we've developed and built to be able to create these things.
Can you talk a bit about the people at Veritone? Because it feels like you're always hiring, so you're always looking for new people. So if someone sees our conversation, I'd be like, okay, so what are you looking for? And how have you, Ryan, his brother, and the rest of the executive team built out your teams across these different industries?
That's a great question. I mean, look, talent is like, it is the most important thing that we have here for those ones here. You know, we're only as good as our people that's there. And so we're always looking for like ones that are willing to push the envelope and to the edge. So whether an engineer, product manager, you know, sales, marketing, support, and those ones here, you know, we're all, I mean, you've worked with us for a while. You know, we're always trying to push the envelope. We're always trying to do what's next and push it a little bit more. And so those ones that want to take part of that, I mean, we have a huge mission statement. It's like we want to create a more transparent and vibrant society through AI. I mean, that's a huge, big, audacious statement to be able to make there. And so we need those individuals that want to make a difference, that want to put a dent in the world and leverage our AI and AI as a whole to be able to make that dent in the world.
I want to talk about like a case study that people kind of get excited about, right? And so you could pick 1,000 of them, but I'm just going to pick one because I was thinking about Veritone this last weekend. There was a football game with the Raiders and the Steelers, and it was the 50th anniversary of the great Immaculate Reception.
The Immaculate Reception.
Or the Immaculate Deception, fair play. And I was sitting there, and my somebody in my family goes, I wish I could hear Madden be the announcer for this game. I go, you can't, yeah. I mean, maybe not Madden exactly, but you will be able to. The technology's there. So one of the intriguing things about what Veritone has the capability of doing, if all the legalese is worked out with the Madden family that owns his image and likeness and his voice, it's potentially possible to say, yeah, like I want to listen to Madden be the announcer for this game because he has a bunch of stuff to say about this,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you absolutely could have that, or have him just do anything for you. Read your emails, do those. But, we had an announcement, I think it was at the Voice Summit this past year, where we talked about exactly that, where we were taking, our partnership with Stats Perform, where we're taking live data feeds that are coming in from Stats. And Stats Perform is the leading data provider for sports.
Right.
So if you're thinking of a DraftKings or any of these gaming platforms
Yes.
and betting, all this data is coming from Stats Perform.
Okay.
And it's pulling this together. So we're taking this data and using our NLG, our natural language generation,
Right.
creating synthetic real-time play-by-play. And then, then the last step of that is, okay, well, how do you want to hear it?
Right.
What do you want to hear that? And to that same point,
Yeah,
like,
so we're really excited. We
if
just
we had
launched
the
the
consent
availability of text to
of the
shop
estate
for
of John
all
Madden,
Walmart customers
and
in
we
the
had
United
the
States.
rights to the training
What that
data
is
to
the
use to create
ability
that
for you
voice,
to,
we could
in
absolutely
your
do that and
native
make that
messaging
accessible.
application,
So if there's a
whether
sports
that's
fan that wanted to
Android
listen
or
to a
iOS,
Raider game
if
or a
you're
Super
going live
Bowl
with those, you
or
can
any
text
game
Walmart.
in John Madden's, or
It is
just even have John
connected
Madden,
seamlessly to your
read his
account,
emails or do something else
and you
for
have
him,
the ability to shop the
that's
entire
that
assortment.
possibility is here
So
today.
for
Do
e-commerce as
you
well
believe
as
that
the Google
sentiment will
Store,
become a big part
you add
of
items
the
to your cart, it
execution of
grows
this
with a week.
technology? Here's what I
You
mean.
can say reorder,
Let's say
and
in
all of
several
your usual
years,
items kind of come
Madden,
back
it's
to you,
all
and you can
approved.
quickly
You're
add
now,
it to your
and one of the
items to
options is
cart.
you can,
You
and
can
also
edit,
one
remove
thing that
things, you
people
can
should
get a
know is
second
you
order,
can
and
control
you
the
can actually
audience
complete the
cheering
entire
and
transaction
booing
via
and
text.
all that stuff. So it's the
And it's
whole
really
system. Let's just
helpful
say
because, as we
Madden's
said, that
available.
kind of, you think about
There's a Steelers
all of
Raiders
those
game.
experiences. Sometimes you
Could
don't want
someone
to say
say,
something
I
loud.
want Madden
And
to
it's just
announce this
easier to send
game
a text message,
and be just
or you're
over
kind
the
of on the
top pro
go,
Raiders and hate the
or if you're in the middle
Steelers?
of a meeting.
Or could a Steelers fan say, this is assuming this is all the legals worked out, but the technology is possible to change sentiment to say, no, I want Madden to root for the Steelers, right? So is sentiment going to become a big thing with this and other things? And how, talk to me about
Yeah,
sentiment.
absolutely. I mean, sentiment is key. I mean, sentiment is the gravitas. It's what
Yes,
pulls you in.
exactly.
It's there. I mean, that's can be done today. Like, and even those appointments that we're talking about, those games is like when you start to see patterns of things that are taking place that are like, well, this is turning into an excitement game. Having the pitch change, having the inflection change, and doing this. The great thing about AI and machine learning is that we're just getting started. So it's getting smarter.
Yeah, so
So as
we
we're
think
providing
about
more data,
actually
as we're
not
doing more
just
executions, it's
simply
getting
like, hey,
smarter,
add
it's
this
getting
item to the
better,
cart
it's getting
and so kind
faster.
of check that out
And
over
that point over
time.
here,
We
right now,
actually think about it in
sentiment is
terms of
controlled
relationship.
using different speech
So our
tones,
goal is
Right.
about
changing
being better
pitch,
with everybody
inflection,
that
and doing
uses
those
us.
things.
But
But
we
at the end of
think
the
and
day,
kind
that's
of
all
agree that our
SSML
team
code.
really does
Right.
think about
And
those little
so if you
emotions,
have those
how we can
patterns that are
support
being
their
take place,
needs.
and you can
And to
project
your
that this
point,
is going to
it's
be
very
a
exciting because
sombering
it's been
moment or an
happening
exciting
recently in the news.
moment,
I'm sure you've all
being able to
read multiple
programmatically
articles about
adjust the inflection of those
ChatGPT.
clone
We have as
voices.
well.
Right.
We're
It's all
incredibly excited
possible.
about kind
Wow.
of
Is there
the
anything
kind
that's
of
not
advancements there and
possible
what will
with
come. There's a lot of
voice
work
AI
in order
tech?
to make that work
Is
for
there a
our
thing
use
or are there
cases.
things that your
We
team
talked
says
about
like,
this. The
hey, come on, it
complexities,
doesn't
it
matter if
seems
the
so
client,
obvious,
the
but the
partner, the
complexities
employee thinks
around
it's a great idea.
retail
We
and
all
the
know,
complexities
like,
of having
that's not where
catalog
this is
with
going.
millions and
Well, I
millions of
mean, there's a
products,
bunch of different
being able
things
to
that you can't solve
understand
yet.
stuff you
All
said
first one
is
to do is like
great
it's your first day
value.
of
That's
school,
actually a
so you're
brand
talking to someone.
of
Is
a
it
product
Anna
that's
or
not
Anna?
necessarily
Yeah,
just that
that's a
A
good
N N
point.
A.
value.
Right.
Like it's
So we're excited
we're never
about
going to know
the
that.
Right.
advancements that are
So
happening,
it's
but a
like
lot of work
so
Or
there'll be like
Ian or
globally
Ian,
right
right?
now
Some people
exactly.
with
with
mind
Veritone
spelling,
to
they
start
say
doing
Ian,
some
Yeah,
right?
discovery.
and that may be
Sean or
different.
King.
For us,
Oh,
it
wait,
kind
no,
of
it's Sean.
Or you may know, like it may, and that may differ by clone model by clone model.
Right.
Just because it says, Ian with this voice, it may say Ian with a different voice.
Right.
And how do you adjust the lexicons for those
So
things?
that is a challenge that there's not a solution for yet.
That's a challenge that we're actively like working to, and that's just something. But again, it's a challenge we all face every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's first day of school, raise your hand.
Right.
It's Anna, it's Anna. It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's a real one that we're going to challenge. That's always going to have a challenge for. And then one there that it's a challenge for is truly localization of some phrases and things that are very hard for a machine to do right now. Requires a lot of human on the loop. But I'll say that as like take five.
Right.
Okay, well, when everyone says take five, we're like, okay, let's go relax for a few minutes. But what does take five mean in Korean? What does take five mean in, Latin or any of these areas? It may be like,
Different cultures and
yeah,
languages.
what are we taking five of?
Right.
And so what we're trying to say may not actually translate the way we want it to or the way we think it will.
Because you'll do, like, you can take Joe Rogan or Brene Brown or Oprah Winfrey or Russell Peters, it doesn't matter. You can take any major content creator, and Veritone has the technology right now to basically have that podcast that's in English be delivered in how many languages?
18 plus.
18 plus.
Yeah.
So for any of these celebrities, take Ariana Huffington, right? So she's a major content creator, has been leader, publisher. If she wanted to take her voice, you could create 18 different languages in her voice with her inflections, with her warmth, and her all the things that make her her, but in these other languages besides English. So 17 other languages.
Correct. And that's the same point. I mean, we can do that almost like seamlessly using, a workflow that we're able to build through AI where,
Wow.
but the human on the loop element needs to come down to is like how far localized do you want to make it have?
Okay.
Because we're taking an English transcript, it'll take the audio, run through and be transcribed. We'll have the transcription, we'll translate the transcription, then we'll reprocess that back into the new language.
If there was an unlimited budget, like, I mean, not like
Yeah.
unlimited, but if the budget wasn't an issue, then all this could be done at a high A+ level. Like,
Absolutely.
it could be
Yeah.
where
It would be
it actually
be
is
what
near
we'll call
flawless.
human on the loop. We'll say, so we have a media workflow that is running through AI that is doing all of this one, where we're injecting a human on the loop at that localization moment for that 100% accuracy to get through it. That's where they're going to review it, and they're a native speaker and can do that. They can understand this doesn't translate, needs to say it this way, and makes those final changes before it goes in there.
Right.
You could absolutely have it flawless.
Last question. If you could work with any company on any project that you're not currently working on or that's not in the pipeline.
Sure.
Okay, so not a prospect you're trying to close. What would you really be attracted to? So, I'm not even giving you an idea, but what would be something like, oh my God, I'd love to work with, Musk on the Boring Company, and we would apply this way, whatever it is.
Content creators, big and small, and I not picking one because I could pick any. Right? Like there's thousands and millions of them out there,
Right.
both big and small. But all the tools that we have, not just voice, but like our core AI and all the different cognitive classes that we have in there, and the workflows and the tools and the applications that we can develop for them that can enrich their cycle, can enrich the content creation standpoint, that can enrich the experience for the viewer, to be able to personalize it further, to be able to regionalize it, perhaps even, and localize it down to the different languages. I mean, we think of ourselves as like, and I think of ourselves as, we are your ultimate toolkit in your content creation cycle. Like, let us make you more extensible. Like, help us go from 10 million to 100 million. That's there. Just leverage technology and focus on what you do best, which is creating content. Whether if you're a social influencer, you're an animator, or you're a studio, they're successful because they make amazing content. And allow us to be able to use that opportunity to help them scale it to levels that they haven't been able to before.
That's good. Well, thank you for joining me.
Awesome. My pleasure.
Glad to have you open this up.
Always great to see you.
Absolutely. For those watching, if you have not seen Sean King's opening keynote from today, I suggest you go find it. It'll probably be the same exact channel this video's on. And also, I type his name in the search engine and at least look at some of the recent talks and interviews that he's done. There's a ton that you can extract from Sean and his team's experiences and the case studies and the vision that they're casting, and I think you'll be greatly benefited. If you don't know who I am, my name's Ian Utility. I am the CEO at Attention Live. I'm here at Las Vegas, CES 2023. I'll be back again with more of these conversations soon. Until then, have a very happy day.